Hi guys, I'm Marky again and welcome back to Revit House. Hello, good evening everyone. So we're live right now in YouTube and we're just waiting for others to join our live session of uh, answering some questions from our fellow Revit users. So we'll just wait about maybe about 3 minutes before we start our session. I hope you all are doing well. We've been idled for quite some time, about 10 months, that we've been quiet uploading and answering some questions. But yes, we're back on track on our YouTube channel. I hope I can help you today for some questions that we need to answer from our good friends that been messaging me about some questions about the sheets. Yeah. So I hope you're hearing me well. Sound check. Yeah, I think we're all good. I hope from your side is also okay. I'll just check the sound. Wait. Hello. Can you hear me? Yeah, I heard myself in my cell phone, so I guess we're all okay. So I think we're gonna start with some of the uh, posts that I had on my Facebook page, which yeah. So one questions that we received from our uh, fellow Revit user is how to do some leader line that is an SP line or S spline. So unfortunately, Revit is not supporting any. It's not supported yet by the SP line, especially on text, on tags. Normally, up until the latest version, we're still using um, leader line that are arcs and straight leader line. So the one with shoulders. So for example, for this text element, if you check in the instance properties the arc leader, so the leader line will be arc, but unfortunately the S spline is not yet supported. And if you uncheck this box here, So it will turn into a straight line, or you can customize it to have it as a shoulder at your own preference. So that's one of the questions that we receive from our good friend. So yeah, so that's one thing that um, I can say that Revit doesn't have any of the SP line options, but hopefully soon, because some of our artistic annotations sometimes needed to be in that way. Yeah, but for now, uh, only straight leader with the shoulder and an arc leader for as an option for your tagging or for your text. So even for your window tagging, the only options for the leader is uh, straight with the shoulder, or you can edit the type. And oh yeah, so this one is the arrowhead only. So yep, so either attach end or free end. So for your taggings. Yeah, so that's one of the questions that we receive. And the other one is how to snap the elements from or the viewport from the other viewport. So for viewport is the the window for your views for all of your views in your sheets. So unfortunately, the elements that you can uh, snap only in the sheets are those annotations like the grids. So, but for your elements here, if you are trying to align this element or this line of the wall to this line of the wall in your sheets, you will not be able to do so if you select your viewport and then command the MV for your move. Um, you will not be able to snap even though you call for the snap endpoints. It will not be able You will not be able to select the endpoints of this wall. The only thing that you can snap is those grid lines or those annotation elements. So for example, I want the intersection of this to be aligned to the grid line D here. I can just simply call out the snap intersection in my keyboard SI, and then I can simply tag this intersection here, and then I'll move it at the endpoint of the grid line D. So in that way, you can shift exactly where do you want to for your alignment of this view to your grid line D. Maybe for some reasons you want to align it in that way, but in any case, when you move a view with the same scale, like for example this floor plan, we have it at 1:100. Any views that have the same scale, you can move or pick and drag the view, and then you can simply just hover it along the other plan view, and it will detect the alignment from the left hand side to your right hand side of your view. So like for example this one, you will see the blue hidden line, so it will lock to that position, meaning that it is aligned uh, to your other views with the same scale. But it only works if the view are the same in scale. For example, this one, I'll customize this to, let's say for example, to 1:200. So this one will never be aligned to the 1:100 because it has a different scale. Yeah, so that one is one of the basics in the sheets, that when you align, so you can just simply pick and drag your view and then just wait for this symbol, the hidden line symbol, and it will align itself accordingly. There's also some instances that we have that you wanted to for the grid line A to be more continuous, as instead of having it as both floor plan have the bubble of the grid line A. So there are some drawings like elevations or sections or even this floor plan view that you want the grid line to be continuous up to the next view. So for us to do that, what you can do is you can just go to activate to your other view for either one of the views. So for example, I'll take this level 1, and then instead of having these two heads of the bubble of the grid line A, I can just simply toggle this 3D to make it into 2D element. So once toggled, I can just make it straight and then drag this to the point, the grip of the grid line, or uncheck this bubble because I don't want to have it, and then I can just simply drag this endpoint to this line of the other floor plan. As you can see, it aligns to the grid line A, and it creates an effect that it is a continuous line uh, from the level 1 to the level 2 grid line. So I'll do the same thing for the grid line B. So I'll just toggle the 2D elements, and then I'll uncheck the box for the bubble, and then I'll drag it to the other end and align it to the to my other line of the grid line, which is this one. Yep. So it will lock the two grid lines, so I can simply adjust it accordingly if I wanted to, like that. Then I'll have a continuous grid line. Of course, this text element, you can just simply shift it up there, so you will have the continuous line. So some of the modelers do also create some, so I'll just deactivate view first. I'll just cancel this. So create a line instead of continuing it. So for example, this one, so they will do a line from here, but unfortunately, if you do a line here and make it more continuous, or to create a continuous effect, you will not be able to snap the grid lines, or it will create another element that later at some point may cause some misalignment. For example, at the end of the day, you decided to shift, sorry, I'll just align it, to shift these two levels right at the center of your sheets. You'll notice that the line will be left behind, and sometimes you will overlook those lines. If you created a lot of elements outside your sheets or outside your views, it will cause a lot of effort to shift it or move it or alter it. So it will create more problem at the latter part of your project. So better to just keep all the elements inside your viewport and no other elements outside your viewport that I could suggest to all of you, so that you won't you won't experience some trouble on adjusting the elements. Except for the title block and all the rest, just keep it inside your viewport. Even the revision clouds, if you need to do revision clouds, most of the modelers do revision clouds outside the sheets. But imagine if you need to shift the views here and there. If you have a lot of views inside your sheets, it will be troublesome for you to move those revision clouds if it's outside your sheets. Unlike if I have it inside, when I have a revision cloud here, for example here, when I deactivate my view, so this one is inside my view, so it will be all together in one view. So that's the alignment or snapping to the viewport. You cannot snap to the element or the 3D elements of your views aside to the annotations element like the grid lines. So let's try it out in the elevations and sections. For example, here I have, or better, this one. Yep. So I have the two details that can be aligned. So, or the building sections. So I don't have any views. So this one is a sample project, so I don't have so we'll just adjust accordingly where it should be. So for example, these two stair sections at 1:50. Nope. elevations. Yeah. So for example, this one, these two elevations, just for a trial, if you want to align this one, you'll notice that it is at the same scale. So when you adjust your views, it will automatically align to that grid line. And if you want to create a connecting line here, you just simply extend your 2D view to this area, and then from your other view, you can just simply uncheck this one or shift it there, so that it will create a one continuous elevation line or level lines that won't have any alteration or overlapping lines. So, and I don't need to draw a line that is outside the viewport. All right, so that's how usually I am controlling my views, and how I always uh, do my level or the lines on the sheets. So I never done any sheets that has lines outside of my viewport, aside to the title block and the viewports. All right. So let's see who's inside our chat group. Yep. Thank you, Kat V. Uh, Jaime Villamil, my brother-in-law. Yep. All right. So we continue with our next questions, which is the or okay. So since we are in the sections, we one of the questions that we receive also is how to create our own level lines. So for example, you have here your level lines that you don't want to be it as a hidden line. Let's say for example you want it to be denser, or you want it to be red or blue. So how to customize your level lines is when you select your level lines. This one is under properties, is at 8 mm head. So it's in the type properties. You'll notice the line pattern here is a dash type. So we can just simply customize a line pattern for depends on what you prefer. For example, I will just duplicate this one since it's a type properties, and I don't want the other type to be overridden. So that's why I'll just duplicate this at 8 mm head. Sorry, dense line. Maybe I'll choose red. All right. So for the color, it's just simply this type. So color, just red. And then for the line pattern, we have to go outside of our type properties because we need to go to our manage properties. So for us to customize a dash denser line or tighter line, that is more in different sizes. So for us to customize a different line pattern, we need to go to our manage. Under additional settings, you have to go to our line patterns. So for us to create a denser line compared to a dash tight, what we can do is we can just simply inspect first what's the value of this dash tight. So I'll edit this one. It's 3 mm and 1.5 mm spacing. So for us to create a more denser line, we have to create a smaller value than this 3 and 1.5. So we will not edit directly the dash type for us to respect the original creator of this one, since this one's a default. So whenever you need to create a new one, just don't edit directly the one that that is already in there, and just simply create new one or duplicate it. So from here you can just say create new. So I'll just name this one dash tight. Maybe that's 3 mm. I'll just create a half of it. So 1.5 mm. There you go. Then I'll just create dash, and this one is 1.5. Then I'll create a space. Then this one perhaps about 0.5. Oops, the minimum is 0.5292. Okay, so we'll just keep the value about 0.7. There you go. Then I click OK. So in that way, I created a much denser line from the dash type. So I'll just click OK here, and then go back to my type properties of the level element. Thanks, Cat V. Alright, so this one, there you go. So I can just simply edit type this, and yeah, this one, the line pattern. Then I can just simply choose the dash type 1.5 mm, then click OK. There you go. So once it's done that you have already created this one, then you can just simply match type all your elements for your levels. The disadvantage of having it duplicated is you have to go every elevations. No, sorry. This one is a 3D element of the 2D. So meaning if you match type everything, so every view that it has, because since it's a one level only, one level type, yep. So it will be applied for all your views. Sorry for that one. Yep, there. So you'll have your own level lines and customized line for it. So if you wanted to be center dash, then or a phantom, you can just simply create from your additional settings, line patterns, and then look for some center type, and then you adjust from here, or copy the settings from here, like this one. You can just simply copy this over, or use the phantom type, the 2-1 or the 3-. So it's up to you. So you can just simply customize from here. All right. So that's how you customize your level line types for this one. Next is the material tagging, or the keynote tagging. So this one is a broad topic actually. Perhaps I can just go first to the view title. So for the view title, you also have one question about the view title, how to control these lines. So there are various ways to control these lines. So but the basic one from Revit of these lines is under the viewport types. So for example, you have the title with line. This is simply just checking or unchecking this tick box here that will give you a default line on your view title. So for example, I'll just uncheck this one. You will notice that the line will be missing already. Okay, so the lines there are the viewport line by default that you can adjust by selecting your viewport. So most of the time, the common thinking is to select this viewport, and then I will adjust the line, or the title itself, the view title itself. So the common mistakes is when you need to adjust the line, you don't have to select the view title itself. Selecting the view title is only for moving it along the viewport. But for us to adjust and rename the views, we have to select the actual viewport to adjust the lines and to rename the views. So for example, this one, it's still using the view name of this viewport, the south. So for example, for this one, we normally don't use, in architectural sense, we don't really use the south view per se. So normally, even though our view name is south, we can customize our title on sheets differently from our view name. So this is I think one of the basics on preparing the sheets in documentations, BIM documentations. When you are preparing your views on the sheets, you can always you need to use the title on sheet instead of view naming, or else your view here will always be longer or sometimes all capital, which is not good for the project browsers because it really occupies the space of your project browser. So for this one, for our elevation, instead of creating I'll just leave the south as a view name, and then I will use a title on sheets to alter the name of this view instead of the south, only south word for the view name. So for this one, I'll just make let's say, should I say side elevation? I'll just skip the rear elevation. All right, rear elevation. Yep. So when I click on my drawing area, so you'll notice that it's a rear elevation, but I can still keep the view as a south elevations in the view name, but in the sheets it is called rear elevation. So now for the lines, I don't want it to be long like this one here. I just need to shorten it a bit along the rear elevation word. So for example, this one, I can just simply click the viewport, and you'll notice the grip that I have here. So I can just simply drag this grip to the rear elevation here, and then just right after the word. So that's one thing you can control the lines of the rear of the view title. So selecting the viewport and adjusting the grip from the elevations, and the title on sheets uh, for your view name on sheets, or view title on sheets. All right, once you have edited the name of your view as a title on sheet, you can simply adjust your naming here directly from the view title itself. So for example, rear elevations, or you want to put the south as a parenthesis, it's fine. So, or okay, so for this one, because the family of the symbol is very short in terms of the length of the text. So for us to edit this one, you have to edit the family. Since we already created this type of view title, we can just simply, since we already done with the lines, how to control the lines of this view title, we can proceed to the topic. The next topic will be the view title symbol, how to alter this view title symbol. So most of the time, we need to create a different text or font for our view title. So unless on your company you have already some standards, but if not, if you're creating your own standards, then this one, the view title, we just need to know what this view title is. So under the title with line edit type, this one is the M view title. So from the M view title, we can go to our project browser and drag the scroll down to the families, and then under the annotation symbol, then you will see the M view title. So for us to make this one, to keep the view title in one line, we can edit this M view title, edit. So that's right click, edit, and then you can select this view name and just simply drag this limit of your view name or your label, then just simply load it into the project, overwrite the existing version. There you go. Then you will have your view title in one single line instead of having it in two lines. Yep. So there's another one for the lines, for the view title lines that we are doing in our office. So what we're doing is we're creating a new view title. Let's say for example this one, and then okay, this one is M view title. I'll just save this one to just go desktop test. Let's just say here. So yeah, I already have one tested yesterday. So I'll just rename this one mview title 2. There, options 1, then save. Then instead of having the view name or the title or the line of the view title inside the type properties and then adjusting the line here and there, what I did is I'll duplicate the 6mm text and then underline. Oops. There you go. Then I'll check this one, underline, then click OK. There. Then I can just simply adjust this view title. Where is the quadrant? So for example, this one, so I'll just edit the label because it's too close to the text. So what I will do is I'll have it prefix about 1, 2, let's say 2 spaces or maybe 3. Then click OK. It's too far, so I can just simply edit label. There you go. Then I'll just simply draw a simple line first so that at least I'll have some indication where is the quadrant of this circle. Then I can just simply adjust by nudging using the arrow key the view title, the view name label to adjust accordingly to that line, and then I'll just delete the line there. Then I'll adjust the scale a bit using the arrow key. There you go. Then with this, I will have automatically the lines under the view title. So when I have this mview title 02RH, I'll just have to load it into the project. So let me try it to this level 1. So for me to do that, I can just simply edit type, then duplicate this title with line, so I won't disturb the one that are using this type of the viewport. So I can just simply title with line. Let's say just RH. Then I'll just uncheck the show extension line, and then I'll just have to select the view title that I just loaded. There you go. Then I click OK. There. So you will have the line after the how long your name is. That's the line automatically will be followed. So will follow. So for example, this one. So I'll just have to have it as a title on sheet as, let's say, first story plan. There you go. So my line will automatically follow as my view name or the title on sheets, even how long I type the title on sheet is. So for example, this one, so I just need to alter the scale a bit. So maybe I'll just have to drag it or nudge it to the left a bit. So load into the project, override existing, a little more. Load into the project, override the existing version. There you go. So I think that should be the lines for the view title. So for example, this one, I have to change it. I'll just have to select that in the type selector, the title RH. Then I'll just adjust the title on sheet to second story plan. Hello, hello, Tarugo, Skinny Kit, Gem. Hi, thank you, thank you. There you go. Second story plan. There. So the lines is all together with the second story plan. How long your view title is, your line will follow. So it depends on how you wanted it to be, because for us this one works because it makes easier in adjusting some of the viewport instead of adjusting the lines here and there whenever the view name or the name of the view, how how long the view name is. So whereas using the underline view name will be much more straightforward and easier to adjust. Yep. So there you go for the view titles. Then let's go back to the third one, which is um, the tagging. So there are various ways actually in using the tag. So when for example you're tagging a wall, if you just command your tg for your wall. So in this instance, there's no wall tag. Let's just simply load some wall tags here. Perhaps there's some default wall tags here. Architectural maybe. Yeah, wall tag. So for the tagging of your wall, for example, this wall tag here, let's say 1A. Yes, there. So this tag of the wall is mainly for the type properties of your wall element. So let's say for example you want to tag this wall using the material inside the structure, because we all know that when we're dealing with walls, we have finish structure and another finish for your interior or exterior. Yeah. So that you can simply tag separately, not just by simply tagging the type of the wall. Tagging the type of the wall is one thing, but sometimes we also need the tagging of the main or the actual material inside. So for example, we need to tag the one that is inside. We cannot use the normal command annotate tag by category, because this one is tagging the element by category: wall, floor, ceiling, roof, furniture, fixtures, and so on and so forth. But if we need to tag the material, we need to use the material tagging. So this is one way of doing it. So we also have the keynote tag, material keynote tag. So there are various ways. That's why I made it uh, later than the view title, because it is more broad in the sense in terms of the discussion. But I'll just discuss briefly what I know in terms of the tagging. So just bear with me with this one. So material tagging, when we use the material tag, so there's also not no material tag that is loaded. Material tag. I know that there's not no material tag that so perhaps I'll just create a material tag. So new family annotations. I'll just start with generic annotations, because you can see there's no material tag here. So I can just simply go material generic annotations and delete this one and change the type of this to material tags there. Alright, so that's here, the family, category, and parameters. Then I'll simply create a label here. So label for mark. So when doing the tags, you can do two parameters in one single label. So but if you click OK, so this one is side by side. If I wanted to go under, you have to, or in two lines, you have to create check the break so that it will go in two lines. So I don't want it at center, I want it at left side. There you go. Then I'll just simply put it here. So one thing that I need to say also, when you're dealing with text, tags, labels, anything that is in text form, always make it transparent rather than opaque, because the opacity of the text is very difficult and it's not easy to control. So yeah, so normally that's how I do it. So yep. So when I have this one already, I'll just simply load it as a family one. Of course, this one is just for discussion sake. So if you are doing it for your company, please save it first before you load it. Okay. Then from here, I can just simply command the material tags. Am I in the viewport? No, not yet. There. I'll just simply command the material tag and I can tab the element. So this one is the basic wall. Yep, basic wall interior. So I can just simply click this one here and here. Then as you can see here, when there is no value yet, because there's no element inside the material properties. So when I double click this, I can see the mark and the description that I created just now. Then I'll just simply input the value. Let's say, for example, this one is PT01. Then the description is paint finish. There you go. And I click OK. So I'll have it here. So it's quite big, but never mind the size first. So later, when you do apply it to your project, always do the correct sizing of your text, about 2.5 or 3 mm if it's the depends on your company. Then for us to know if we applied correctly this PT01 to the finish that we are intending it to have, so we inspect the wall. So we will inspect it under the edit type, under the structure, edit. This finish should have that properties under its identity data. Welcome, RJ. There. So this finish should have those identity under the mark, under the description. So if you use the material tag, it will read this material. So any element, ceiling, wall, that is using this material will have this as a tag. So you can use it for your interior walls or your just be mindful that you're editing the material itself. So be careful on doing this, because most of the time if you do this and then you duplicate this element or use this one, rename this one, it will also have this PT01 and paint finish as its identity. So be mindful on how you use your material tagging. So if you're using material tags, then it will be dependent on the material that you assign to your element. So if I use another material element, let's see, you see that this one I am tagging the same wall, but I'm pointing to the structure. So it's still a question mark, because so we do the reverse, because this element is different material. So the one that we tagged earlier is the interior gypsum. So the one that I'm tagging now is the wood stud layer. So we'll do the reverse. We'll edit this one through the material window. Alright, shape space. Hello, shape space. I'm not sure who he or she it is. Pogi talaga si Ezer. Yes. Alright, so yep. So for the mark, I'll just use, since it's a wood layer, I'll just use WD01, and then the description will be wood stud layer. Alright, then apply, then OK. So you'll notice that when I click OK, this one is here already. So that's how you use your material tagging in one single wall. So for example, you just need a wall tag, which is the type of this wall. Just simply use the TG. But if you need to have it more specific per material, you'll have to use the material tag. Alright, so there's one thing also that we also use for the tagging. It is called the keynote tag. So keynote tag is dependent, which is this one, dependent to a certain coding system or keynoting system that is based on some standards. So I'm not sure which is really it is, but uh, in the default, excuse me, in this default one, you can just simply use element keynote, and then for example, we tag this type of wall here. Sorry, keynote, element keynote. Oh, there's no keynote tag. Okay, we'll just load a keynote tag. It's under the annotation. There, keynote tag. Alright, so when you select this wall, so it gives us question mark. Oops, sorry. So it will prompt, or you will be prompted by this keynote element. This is a default keynote Revit keynotes element based on the Autodesk default. So for example, this one is a wall. It's an exterior wall, so it's a masonry wall. I can just simply select from here which masonry wall that I am using. Masonry mortar, masonry anchorage and reinforcement, masonry accessories, masonry unit, stones, so on and so forth. So for example, this one is a, let's say, a masonry mortar. So this one is 4060, or you can expand it more. So which mortar you are using. So there are some of these standards. I believe this one can be customized as well. So yep, so for example, this one, I can just simply select this 40660 keynote, then I click OK. So automatically it will be assigned to this wall under the type properties, which is this 4060. You will notice that the masonry mortar is not even in the properties itself, because this one is directly under this keynote, the key value and the keynote text. So you will just see in your properties the keynote number, but you will not be able to see this one because it will be automatically adapting the keynote text that is assigned to this assembly number or the keynote number. So that's one way also of tagging your elements. Depends on the keynote, but this one normally is dictated by your BIM manager or through the BEP, the BIM execution plan, that how you will use your tagging for this. So those, I think, that I could share to you guys when what elements or what type of tagging that you can use for your elements. So this keynote tag is very generic for all the elements. You can this keynote tag is, you can also use it to your staircase, to your fixtures, or every element. So one command only for all the taggings of your element. So keynote also have this keynote or material keynote. For example, I'll edit this this wood, the WD01 with the keynote. So I'll just click this WT01. As you notice, the properties of that finish already have this G20. So where to find that G20? When you go to the type properties under the structure, this wood stud layer, under the identity, you'll notice that it has already a keynote. So if you want to alter this keynote, you can just simply click this three dot here or the browse button. Then you can just go to your woods and plastic code. Then we can just simply use the rough carpentry here, or the architectural woodwork, depends. Alright, so I think should be the rough, yeah, rough carpentry. Let's say the wood framing. Alright, so we can just use the wood framing here as a code 06110. Then I click OK, then I OK, then OK. So there you go. So we will have your tagging as per the material keynote, not the keynote element or the keynote tag. This one is a keynote tag, this one is a material keynote. So Revit has various ways of tagging an element. So you'll just have to use which one you prefer to. Compared to a generic annotations, I think this one is better than that. So I hope this type of tagging will be more useful to you guys rather than creating some of the generic annotations. But of course, Revit has a lot of limitations in terms of tagging. So generic annotations, that's why it's there, because to cope or to at least uh, satisfy what we wanted to have, because most of this tagging is very uh, constraints. That's why it has lesser flexibility. So that's why we can still use the generic annotation at bare minimum at least. Yep. So one last one, but this one is not other than sheet. Before I go to the chat, if there are questions there, you can drop your questions in the chat group, um, or in the comment section. But one last topic that I wanted to discuss is the symbolic lines inside a family. So normally when we create a symbolic lines, for example, we are creating some generic model with the symbolic lines on your elevations. Normally symbolic lines is when you showed it in one elevations, it will show to the opposite direction of your element. So I'll create a family for example, a generic model family. Let's say we have something like this here. So this one I'll just rename as front. Oops. This one is back. Left. Right. Okay. Yep. So with this, so I'll just have to, I won't create any parameters. This one is just mainly for discussion. So create extrusion. So just for to simulate the symbolic lines. Then just make it 2000. There. Oops. Finish. There. So when we go to work plane base, when we go to our elevation of this, let's say front elevation, so then we create, for example, this one is a swing door or swing element. So I'll just create a symbolic line, a hidden line projection. So for example, it's a swing element like that. There. Shout out Alexis. Thank you for watching. There. So from here, for example, you'll have your symbolic lines here, and I have my element here. So by right, if I view it in 3D, I'm just viewing it around here, and it will be black, and I'm not be seeing from behind, from the back. Unfortunately, when you load it into the project, okay, so I'm not in the plan. So let's say, for example, here, so I'll have to command the component, place on work plane level 1. So I'll go here. So when we go to this view, there we can see the symbol. But when you go back to your from behind, if you see it from behind, so I'll just copy this section and flip it. Then from the other side, it will still be showing that symbol, because that's how the behavior of your symbolic lines. So to avoid that one, because sometimes we only need it to have it on one side, and we don't want it to be seen from the other side of your elevation or from the opposite side of your views, what I normally do This one is, I don't know if this is the correct solution, but for me it works, so I don't know. But this one for me, it is working, so that's what I'm using. So first, for this symbolic line, instead of having it as a symbolic line, I am converting it into a model lines. So when I convert it into model lines, it will have a work plane. So when it will have a work plane, I can just simply assign it to the front elevations there. And I don't want it to be visible, of course, on plan because it will show only a single line. Also at the left and right side, so because it will also show the as a single line. So it won't show the the hidden line of it because it's in the projection elevation. So when I view it in 3D, so this is how it looks like. Yep. So when I load this into the project, overwrite the existing version, I have it in the front elevation, but I don't have it from the rear elevation. So that's one of the solutions that I normally do. But if I notice some other solutions, I'll let you guys know. But for this one, that's how I used to do it. And for me, it's working. So I hope it's also work. It will also work for you. Yep. So I guess that's what I have only for the sheets and for the families somehow for the basic of the symbolic lines. So let's go to our chat if there are questions. I'll wait for a while, maybe about 5 minutes, guys, if you can think of anything that you wanted to ask about sheets. So in sheets also, if you don't know, there you can add views using right click instead of picking and dragging. So right click, add view, and then from here you can select your views while waiting for some questions. Thank you, Jem. Let's say you want some 3D view here. It's too much. So if you want to ask questions, just feel free to visit my Facebook page. Message me directly there, and I hope I can answer quickly as possible. Symbolic line solve. Camilla, sir, how to change symbolic line type? Symbolic line type. Ah, okay. Inside the family, it is called subcategory. So as you notice here, it's a subcategory here. So for example, most of the time when we load some uh, lines here, it's broader than what we wanted it to be. So to create a new line types here, you just have to go to your manage object styles. So you'll notice here that we have the generic model and the hidden lines only, which is under projection or cut. So for you to create your own subcategory of the generic model, you'll just have to create your modify subcategory or new category. Then you'll have to select which one you want to prefer because sometimes some of the family have multiple subcategory of, or you can under it to another types. So when you this one for this instance, we only have the generic model as a main category. So this one I can just simply hidden dense there. Then you'll just have to create your own line patterns For example, this one is dash, so I don't have any other dash here, so I can just simply create my own line patterns again under additional settings, line patterns. So instead of having it as dash at 6 mm, I can create a new one. Let's say dash 2 mm. So dash 2 mm, then space 2 mm, dash, or like that. So simply like that, 2 mm. There. Because this one, how did I add it? Yeah, dash and space only. Alright, so this one I have dash 2 mm, then I click OK. Then from here, on your object styles, hidden dense or hidden line dense, then you can just simply select your dash 2 mm or even change the color. Let's say the favorite color, blue, then click OK. Then from here, you can just simply select this line and then choose your, you see that hidden dense, we have the projection or cut. So always use the projection if it's an elevation. If it's cut using sections or plan lines, you'll use the cut. So I'll just use the projection. Then from here, I have a denser lines and a blue line. Then you'll just have to load it into the project, overwrite the existing version. It's here. Then in here, to modify it, you can just go to your manage object styles. Oops, where's the object styles? There, object styles. Under the generic model, you will notice the subcategory that you just created. There, hidden line or hidden dense dash 2 mm. You can still customize it here inside the project. Creating families with line works na parametric like sa joinery door swings, etc. Oh, line work na parametric. Okay, maybe next time we'll discuss that one. We'll have another live sessions for creating families with line works. Okay. Yeah. So, yep. So I hope I answered the question of Camille. Yep. Or I'll create a video for it creating the families using the genre. I think you asked me that about that one before. All right. Any other questions? If none, let's go for another 2 minutes. What else I can share you with? We'll just have to wait for another any question, guys. If none, we can end the live. And you can just simply message me anytime from in my Facebook page or in YouTube. Just message me there and I'll try to respond as quickly as possible. Yep, I just added a WhatsApp link in my Facebook page, so you can easily reach me from the Facebook page that I created. So yep, Alright, so I guess we'll end our live. Thank you very much for joining and for the questions. Thank you, KJ. And thank you all for joining me in these live sessions. I hope I can do better before next time. So, yep. So if you like the content of our lecture series, please click the like button and share it with your friends. And don't forget to subscribe and click that bell button to follow our lecture series. Talk to you soon.